is Pastor Tami with HungryHeartsForGod.com. Welcome to Can You Hear Me Now? 7 Ways to Recognize the Voice of God. This session will be taking a look at distinguishing factor number 1, character. After dialoguing with God for several years and experiencing incredible emotional healing, I realized that while my life had been transformed and I wasn't in emotional pain anymore, I wasn't actually behaving any differently either. As a pastor, I still had the ability to be a really, really ugly person. Periodically, well, probably more like quite often, this spiritually superior, self-righteous, critical and judgmental know-it-all would come out of me. I could literally watch people start to mentally, emotionally, and even physically back away from me. I would tell myself to shut up, Tami, just shut up. But I couldn't. I would try to backtrack and smooth it over, but I usually ended up only making things worse. After each one of these episodes, I would say, "Oh, God, why? Why do I do this thing I do?" And he would say, "Because you're carnally minded." I thought carnally minded meant worldly minded, and I had been a dedicated Christian all my life. It was all I knew. I had never been in the world or involved in worldly things, so I figured it had to be the enemy tormenting me, and I discounted it. But after hearing the same response over and over again, I finally entertained the idea that it just might be God talking to me. I started asking him to teach me what it meant to be carnally minded. One day, frustrated with my self-righteous, critical, and judgmental attitude, I said, "Oh, God, I stink. My dad talks about people with spiritual BO. Well, that's me. I don't have an attitude. I am one. No matter how much I fast and pray, it exudes from me like a bad body odor. I hate being me. Why am I like this?" "Because you're carnally minded. I keep telling you I don't know what that means." "Tami, even though you are dialoguing with me in prayer, you are still daily walking according to the counsel of the flesh." "I still don't know what that means. It sounds all Christian cliche. I don't know what to do with that information. I don't know how to change it. What's the practical application?" He led me to read Romans 8:7, and I did, and got nothing. "Please, make it plain. What are you trying to say to me?" He told me to read it again, slowly and out loud, so I did. "The carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be." Neither indeed can be? What? God said, "Tami, you are struggling to make your carnal mind think right. This is never going to happen. It's impossible." "But Lord, if I can't make my carnal mind think right, what am I supposed to do?" He said, "Put on the mind of Christ." God, again, I have no idea what that means. What's the practical application of it? What do I do? What do I not do? I began feeling drawn to meditate on I am that I am, the name God calls himself. I am that I am. I became fascinated with this and meditated on it for months, discovering some incredible truths. God is an ever-present, all-powerful knowing, a being that is whole and complete. In him there is no lack, no need, nothing is missing, damaged, or broken. His completeness allows him to focus 100% on others, filling in the gaps and making up the difference for each of us individually. The counsel of the Spirit is based on the wholeness and completeness of His character. So when I'm walking according to the counsel of His Spirit, there is no lack and no need. Nothing is missing, damaged, or broken. I don't feel compelled to defend myself or prove anything to anyone. There's no fear or intimidation, and I certainly don't feel the need to compete. I am that I am knows who He is, and He is who He is, regardless of the actions and behaviors of others. So, in the midst of His counsel, I can experience that same knowing. I can know that I know that I know that I know that I am, and more than enough. As I allowed these truths to take root in me, I became aware of the counsel of the flesh, which is enmity against or in opposition to all that God is. In contrast to I am that I am, the basic knowing of the flesh is, I'm not enough yet. This is the default setting of the carnal mind. This belief causes the flesh to be insecure, competitive, vacillating back and forth between feeling inferior and superior. It is discontent, always lacking, never enough, needing and wanting. The carnal mind is defensive, always feeling like it has to prove its value, its worth, its rightness. It's obsessed with being right. Ego cannot be wrong. If it's wrong, it ceases to exist, right? The carnal mind is critical and judgmental. It makes itself feel better by making others look worse. The flesh is an impatient, driven, human doing. Gotta go, gotta get, gotta know, gotta have, gotta do. The carnal mind has a victim mentality. The flesh is not one to take responsibility. The carnal mind is a survival mind, and survival mode is all about me. The counsel of the flesh is based on its not enough, all about me character. I don't know about you, but this is not the type of person I would pay to coach me through life. And yet, I was listening to and buying into the counsel of the flesh on a daily basis. The counsel of the enemy is based on his character. John 8:44 tells us that he is a liar and the father of it. To make his lies believable, they often hold a small element of truth. Think about it. In the garden, he says to Eve, God just knows that when you eat of the tree, your eyes will be opened and you will be like him, knowing good and evil. There was some truth in that. God did know that when man ate of the tree, their eyes would be opened and they would know good and evil, which is why he didn't want them to eat of it in the first place, right? The lie was that it would make them more godlike. In closing, what has the counsel of the flesh been saying to you? Become aware of the less than, not enough, all about me thinking of the carnal mind. Recognition and awareness empower us to choose not to buy into the counsel we just heard and instead go on a search for truth. Ask the Spirit of God, the I am that I am and more than enough dwelling in you, what his perspective is on the matter. Will you do it? And when your hungry heart is ready for another taste of this delicious food, check out Can You Hear Me Now? Distinguishing factor number 2, motive. This is Pastor Tami, inspiring hungry hearts around the world to pursue his presence and his purpose by learning to distinguish the voice of God from the counsel of the flesh and the counsel of the enemy. Until next time, God bless.